Have you ever felt tired for no clear reason? As if your body is running on low battery, no matter how much you sleep, rest, or try to push through the day? Have you ever noticed that your mind feels a little slower than usual? Your hands or feet sometimes tingle, or your energy seems to disappear right when you need it most? These are the kinds of signals people often ignore, blame on stress, or call just getting older. But sometimes, the truth is much simpler and much more important. Your body may be begging for more vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is not a trendy nutrient. It is not one of those things people talk about only when they are trying a new diet or chasing a wellness trend. It is one of the most important vitamins in the human body. Without it, your cells cannot work properly. Your nerves can suffer. Your red blood cells can struggle to carry oxygen efficiently. Your brain can start to feel foggy. Your body can begin sending warning signals long before you realize what is happening. And that is what makes vitamin B12 deficiency so dangerous. It does not always arrive with one dramatic symptom. It often whispers first. It shows up in small changes, in subtle discomforts, in things people dismiss until the problem becomes harder to ignore. The good news is that when you know what to look for, the signs can be recognized early. And when a B12 deficiency is found early, it is often very treatable. So today, let us look closely at 9 signs your body may be begging for more vitamin B12, because understanding these signals may help you protect your energy, your nerves, your memory, and your long-term health. The first sign is fatigue that does not make sense. This is one of the most common clues, and yet it is also one of the easiest to overlook. People feel tired all the time for many reasons. They may be busy, they may be stressed, they may not be sleeping enough, but B12 deficiency fatigue often feels different. It can be deep, persistent, and difficult to shake. Even after a full night of sleep, you may wake up feeling exhausted. You may find yourself needing more naps. You may feel like simple tasks require more effort than they used to. Why does this happen? Because vitamin B12 is essential for making healthy red blood cells. These blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body. If B12 is too low, the body may produce fewer healthy red blood cells or larger, less effective ones. That means less oxygen gets delivered where it is needed. Your muscles may tire more easily. Your mind may feel sluggish. Your whole system can begin to feel like it is working with less fuel. When someone tells me they feel exhausted but cannot explain why, one of the first questions to consider is whether there could be a nutrient deficiency behind it, and B12 should absolutely be on that list. The second sign is weakness. This is not the same as simply feeling tired. Weakness means your body does not seem to have the same strength it normally does. You may notice it when climbing stairs, carrying groceries, standing up from a chair, or getting through a workout. You may feel like your muscles are not responding the way they should. This can happen because B12 deficiency affects the production of red blood cells, which reduces oxygen delivery, and it can also affect the nervous system, which is responsible for telling muscles what to do. Some people describe it as feeling washed out. Others say their legs feel heavy. Some notice their grip is weaker. The key point is that weakness, especially when it seems to be getting worse without an obvious reason, deserves attention. It is not something to dismiss as laziness, age, or just being out of shape. Sometimes it is the body trying to get your attention before the problem grows. The third sign is numbness or tingling in the hands and feet. This is one of the more important warning signals because it suggests the nervous system may already be affected. Vitamin B12 plays a major role in protecting nerves. It helps maintain the myelin sheath, a kind of insulating layer around nerve fibers that allows signals to travel properly. When B12 is low, that insulation can suffer. As a result, nerves may misfire or become damaged. People may notice pins and needles sensations. Their fingers may feel tingly. Their feet may feel numb, burning, or strangely, asleep. Sometimes this happens only occasionally. Other times it becomes more frequent or constant. The danger here is that people often blame circulation or posture and keep moving on with life, not realizing that nerve damage from B12 deficiency can become serious if it continues too long. This is one of the reasons B12 deficiency should never be ignored. Nerve symptoms are not just uncomfortable. They are a sign that the body may be under real biological strain. The fourth sign is brain fog and trouble concentrating. Many people today talk about brain fog, but not everyone understands what it really means. It can feel like your thoughts are slower. Words may not come as easily. You may walk into a room and forget why you were there. You may read the same sentence several times and still not fully absorb it. You may find it harder to stay focused at work or in conversation. It can be subtle, but it can also be very frustrating. Vitamin B12 is important for the brain and nervous system, so when levels drop, cognitive performance can suffer. This does not mean every moment of forgetfulness is caused by B12 deficiency. Of course not. Sleep, stress, anxiety, depression, dehydration, and many other factors can affect mental clarity. But if brain fog appears along with fatigue, weakness, numbness, or mood changes, B12 deficiency becomes much more likely and much more important to evaluate. The brain is an energy-hungry organ. It depends on efficient oxygen delivery, healthy nerve signaling, and proper cellular function. When one of the body's key vitamins is missing, the brain often notices. The fifth sign is pale or slightly yellowish skin. This one surprises people. When they think of vitamin deficiency, they usually think of energy or nerve symptoms, not the way the skin looks. But B12 deficiency can affect the blood in ways that may change skin color. With fewer healthy red blood cells, a person may appear pale. In some cases, because of the way red blood cells are broken down, the skin, or the whites of the eyes, may take on a slightly yellow tone. This does not mean every pale face or yellowish tint is caused by B12 deficiency. There are many possible explanations. But when skin color changes appear along with fatigue and weakness, they should not be brushed aside. Your skin is often one of the body's most visible messengers. It can quietly show that something deeper is happening inside. The sixth sign is balance problems or clumsiness. If you are suddenly tripping more often, feeling unsteady, or noticing that your coordination is not what it used to be, this is not something to ignore. Vitamin B12 deficiency can affect the spinal cord and nerves that help control movement and balance. People may feel unsteady when walking. They may have trouble sensing where their feet are. They may become more clumsy than usual or feel unconfident on stairs and uneven ground. This is especially important because balance issues raise the risk of falls, and falls can be dangerous at any age. In older adults, they can be especially serious. A person may think they are simply not as nimble as before, when in reality the nervous system is giving them a warning sign. Balance is something most people only notice when it starts to slip. But if it does, a B12 deficiency is one of the causes that should be considered. The seventh sign is mood changes. People do not always connect vitamin B12 with emotional health, but the connection matters. Low B12 has been linked with irritability, sadness, low mood, and in some cases, symptoms that resemble depression. This does not mean B12 deficiency is the only cause of mood problems. Emotions are complex. Life is complex, but the brain depends on nutrients just as much as the rest of the body does, and B12 is part of that picture. A person may feel more irritable than usual. They may feel down without knowing why. They may lose motivation. They may feel mentally flat. And because these symptoms can overlap with stress, burnout, and depression, the nutrient factor can be missed. That is why it is so important not to think about health in just one dimension. The body and mind are deeply connected. Sometimes the solution to a mental problem begins with a biological one. The eighth sign is a sore tongue or mouth changes. This symptom is often overlooked, but it can be very revealing. Some people with B12 deficiency develop a smooth, swollen, or sore tongue. Others may have mouth ulcers, burning sensations, or discomfort when eating or speaking. The tongue may look unusually red or irritated. This happens because rapidly dividing cells, like those in the mouth and digestive tract, are especially sensitive to nutrient deficiencies. When the body is short on B12, tissues that renew themselves quickly can be affected early. That includes the lining of the mouth and tongue. People may think they are dealing with a minor irritation, a canker sore, or sensitivity to spicy foods, but if these changes keep happening or are paired with fatigue and brain fog, they deserve a closer look. The mouth often tells the story before the rest of the body does. The ninth sign is shortness of breath or a rapid heartbeat during mild activity. This can be alarming and it should be taken seriously. If simple activities make you feel winded more easily than before, or if your heart seems to race without much effort, one possible explanation is anemia related to B12 deficiency. When the body lacks healthy red blood cells, the heart may have to work harder to move oxygen around. That can make ordinary physical activity feel more difficult. People may notice breathlessness when walking, climbing stairs, or doing things that never used to be a problem. They may feel their pulse increase more quickly. Sometimes this symptom is mistaken for being out of shape, when the real issue is that the blood is not carrying oxygen as efficiently as it should. This is one more reason not to treat fatigue as a simple inconvenience. The body is a system. When one part is struggling, other parts often begin to compensate, and the heart, lungs, muscles, and brain all feel that strain. Now, these 9 signs are important, but they become even more meaningful when you understand who is at higher risk of vitamin B12 deficiency in the first place. Older adults are at greater risk because the stomach may produce less acid over time, and stomach acid helps release B12 from food. People who follow a strict vegan diet are also at higher risk because B12 is naturally found mostly in animal products. That does not mean a vegan diet is unhealthy, but it does mean that B12 needs special attention. People with digestive conditions such as celiac disease, Crohn's disease, or pernicious anemia may also have trouble absorbing B12 properly. And certain medications, including some acid-reducing medicines and some diabetes medications, can interfere with B12 status over time. This means the question is not only, do I eat enough B12? The deeper question is, am I absorbing it well? Because you can eat the right foods and still end up deficient if your body cannot use what you eat. That is the part many people miss. When it comes to B12, deficiency can be deceptively silent at first. A person may still be eating regularly, they may still believe their diet is fine, they may assume that because they are not severely ill, there is no major problem. But nutrient deficiency often develops in the background, slowly and quietly. By the time symptoms become obvious, the body may already have been struggling for some time. That is why testing matters. If someone has persistent fatigue, numbness, tingling, memory issues, balance problems, or unexplained mood changes, a simple medical evaluation can help identify whether B12 is involved. Blood tests can look at B12 levels and, in some cases, additional markers that give a clearer picture. This is especially important because early treatment may prevent more serious complications. And here is something critical to understand. Nerve damage from long-term B12 deficiency can sometimes become difficult to reverse if it goes on too long. That is why waiting is not a good strategy. Ignoring the symptoms does not make them harmless. It only gives the problem more time. So how can B12 deficiency be corrected? That depends on the cause. For some people, improving dietary intake may help. B12 is found in foods like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. Fortified foods can also contribute, especially for people who avoid animal products. For others, supplements may be needed. In cases where absorption is impaired, medical treatment may involve higher dose oral supplements or injections. The key is not to guess. The key is to identify the reason the deficiency exists and then match the solution to the cause. Because the body is not only asking for more vitamin B12, it is asking for the right kind of support. There is also an important lesson here about prevention. We often think of vitamins as small details, but the truth is that they are part of the foundation of health. B12 is not about chasing extra energy in a superficial way. It is about allowing your cells to work properly. It is about protecting your nerves. It is about helping your brain stay sharp and your blood do its job. It is about maintaining the basic biology that lets you feel alive, capable, and resilient. Think about what happens when that foundation weakens. A person may not immediately recognize it as a vitamin problem. They may think their body is simply slowing down. They may start changing their sleep, their schedule, their caffeine intake, or their exercise routine, trying to fix a problem that is actually rooted in nutrition and biology. That is why awareness matters. Knowing the signs means you can act sooner, not later. And that brings us back to the body's language. The body is constantly speaking to us. Sometimes it speaks through pain. Sometimes it speaks through fatigue. Sometimes through a tingle in the fingers, a foggy mind, a sore tongue, or a change in balance. These are not random events. They are signals. They are messages. The challenge is learning how to hear them before they become harder to ignore. If your body has been feeling off, do not dismiss it. If your energy has faded, if your thoughts feel slower, if your hands or feet tingle, if your balance feels different, if your mood has changed, or if everyday tasks have started to take more out of you than they should, it may be time to look more closely at vitamin B12. Not every symptom means a deficiency, but every persistent symptom deserves respect. That is the heart of good health thinking. Not panic, not denial, but attention. The body gives clues. The earlier we listen, the better the outcome can be. Vitamin B12 may be small, but its impact is huge. It helps keep your blood healthy, your nerves protected, your brain supported, and your energy stable. When it is missing, the effects can spread across many parts of the body. That is why a deficiency should never be treated like a minor issue. It may begin quietly, but it can affect the whole person. So remember these 9 signs: unexplained fatigue, weakness, numbness or tingling, brain fog, pale or yellowish skin, balance problems, mood changes, a sore tongue or mouth changes, and shortness of breath or a racing heartbeat during mild activity. These are not just random annoyances. They may be the body's way of asking for help. And if that is happening, the best next step is not to guess, not to wait, and not to self-diagnose in the dark. The best next step is to pay attention, get checked, and find out what your body is really saying. Because when it comes to vitamin B12, the difference between feeling drained and feeling well can be much bigger than people realize. Take the warning signs seriously. Listen to the signals. Support your body early. That is how small deficiencies are prevented from becoming big problems. That is how energy is protected. That is how the nervous system is defended. And that is how you give your body what it has been quietly asking for all along.